Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over weapons, specifically old weapons that you do not need, either just irrelevant weapons to your roster, for instance if you're later on in the game, and the 3-star weapons that you're going to be collecting up. I do get questions from time to time, you know, what do I do with my old weapons? I generally let them gather dust for quite a long time and then just have a clean out, you know, every month or two, and then Scopely do the same pretty much. Every couple of months they clean out everyone's duplicate weapons after like past 1,000. You've had this happen a couple of times, and then they give you in your inbox the sort of items that you would have received if you did, you know, break these weapons down. And generally it's going to be a lot of 1-star and 2-star weapons, but it's because some people just don't get to it, and it is because it takes a lot of time. Honestly, it takes a lot of time. But I've already removed all my 1-star and 2-star weapons from my inventory, and you can see I've still got 2,650 weapons that are 3-star, 4-star and 5-star. Now, when it comes to what you can do with these weapons, there's 2 ways you can get rid of them. The first is you can go to the inventory and then you can click sell, and then you can see all the weapons that you've got and you can sell any that you want. And an easy thing you can do here as well is you can select the grade that you want to sell. So let's say all the 3 stars, and then you can sell. Unfortunately, you cannot pick like the first 100 weapons in here, which you can do in the Armory when you disassemble, which is a great feature. In here, there's no feature like that. It would be great if it was added. But you can long press on a weapon, and every weapon of the same type, this Governor's Revolver, you can see it selected all of them. It's 55 in the bottom left, and it also tells you the amount of currency that you're going to get. 2,750 supply points, and you can see my supply markers are pretty reasonable at the moment, to be honest. So I'm not too bothered about getting more supply depot points. I have actually done this recently. My last clean out, I got a lot of supply depot points, and this time around, I'm in actual dire need of a specific item, and that is going to be, I believe is it spray paint or silver spray paint or something like this? I always miss it. There it is. It's just spray paint. I've only got 34, and I need these to do 5% upgrades. I think I've seen other people say they're in the same position. I think I saw Man on the Moon say he's in exactly the same position, where some of the harder to get items like this, you know, you can only get 2 a week in League Store, and you're going to rely heavily on disassembling your weapons to get these. Now, when you come to disassembling your weapons, it's extremely important to pick up a territory, a very specific territory, and this one in the bottom right hand corner, which I have already done, and it is the weapon boost one. As you can see, bonus items chance when disassembling weapons. You get a 25% boost. It just means that you get basically 25% extra on top of what you would have got in the first place when you disassemble each individual weapon, which is always a good thing. It's always a good thing. I'm not sure if it increases the quality. It just maybe increases the chance of getting extra rolls of drops effectively. So you've got just a better chance of getting something that you want. So we'll go into the armor, and you can see I've got 2 things crafting. Something they did add recently, which was another great addition to the game, was they added the ability to just hit the X in the top right hand corner and be able to disassemble while you're crafting, which is great obviously. And then the way you do it is you again select the filter in the top left hand corner, select the weapons that you wish. As you can, I've got no 1 stars, I've got no 2 stars, I've already disassembled these. We're going to go through the 3 stars, and generally speaking for me at end game, I've got 2,260 of these. I do not need these. I do not need these. First off, actually, I'm going to just check how many of those items have I got. I think it was 34. We're going to see how many we get out of this. That'll be interesting, because I don't think the drop rate is that great anyway, but it will be interesting to see. 34, I did have 34. So we'll go back in, nice and quick. Weapons, disassemble, and we'll just select 3 stars. And this is where you can just select first 100. If you're brand new to the game, you might want to take it a bit easy on disassembling your 3-star weapons. Some of them are quite good. Things that give you a very large bonus on attack is decent on a weapon, and anything that gives you like pretty decent stat. I'm not sure if that is the rarity, unfortunately. Maybe you can like list by defense. I think the highest percentage stat you can get is 20% on any stat on a 3-star weapon. So that's the downside, generally speaking. But the crit weapons that have 20 crit are generally okay to hold on to. But for me at end game, not so much. You can see I can select 100, and I can do this 22 times, and it cost me 400k material. So it does cost a lot of materials to do, but we'll just do 1, and it will slowly go through the items, you can see, and it gives you breakdown of each, but then you can just skip And you can see I got 8 super glue. Did I get any of the spray paints? I think I've got a chance of getting it from rare weapons. There we go, I got 4. So that's from 100 breakdowns. I can do this 20 times, so I can get a bunch of spray paints. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this the 20 odd times, and we're going to see what I can get out of this at the end. So I was on 34 spray paints. Let's see where I can get to. Okay, so on to the last 5 now. You can see I've got 500 more to do. I've got just over 2 million materials, which is enough. We're going to see how much. I haven't really been keeping track. We got 1 extra there. I did check 1 and I got 5. I haven't really been keeping track. I'm going to skip. They normally come up near the end. We get another 1. So sometimes you can get unlucky and get the 1s. And sometimes you can get lucky and get, you know, 4s and 5s. So maybe get 0s. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, the last 2. Skip a row. Didn't get any in this one, I don't think. We do get other stuff. You can see that basically the background on the things you get just says how important it is. This stuff is just for basic crafts or to craft higher tier items, but these things are like for crit chance, success chance, and the actual, you know, being able to actually craft the item as well, because sometimes you can get a rare item. I think it's the one with the orange outline is the one to craft items, and then the one with the sort of like the yellowish outlines of the crit and success items. You can see the spray paint here is I believe it's a crit item. I believe it's a crit item. Chance to critical success. There we go. Yeah, that's the critical success. We hit 3 here. So we had all of our weapons disassembled, and we'll just check out how many we got. And this is just giving you an idea from 2,200 disassembles. How many of those spray paints did we get? I was at 34. You know, I'd hope to get quite a bit, honestly. But we'll see. We got actually not too bad. 73. So that's actually good. You need 1 per 5% upgrade. So that's going to keep me sort of like okay for a while now. In terms of certain 5% upgrades, I think it's attack needs spray paint. I can't remember what other ones need spray paint. I think it's just the big ones, attack and defense. I don't think HP needs spray paint. So that's what we can get there. Then obviously we're going to move on to disassembling 4-star items. This is a bit more like to be a bit more picky on what items you want to, you know, disassemble. I'm also just going to restock my material so we can get to this. Okay, so we're back in the armory and we'll do the same thing again. We go into the weapon inventory, we click on disassemble, and we click on the tiers we want. We've also obviously cleaned out my 1 stars, 2 stars, and 3 stars now. And if we check out the 4 stars, we'll see that we've got a bunch. Now, right up the top, you can see I've got some pretty decent weapons here, and this is because I have not locked these. If you want to take the risk of doing the first 100 by accident, and it says, look, one of these are equipped to a characters, because these are equipped to characters, you might want to just click on the I button and just click lock. Once they're locked, they cannot be disassembled, they cannot be reset. It is an issue if you are trying to upgrade it as a 5-star weapon. It would be cool if there was 2 lock buttons, like a disassemble lock button and a reset lock button or something like that. But it is where it is. And the rest of my weapons, you can see it's ordered in rarity. Every single other weapon I want to keep a hold of is now locked. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to just do it by rarity, but from the bottom up. And what I like to do is I like to keep a hold of things that have basically purple stats in the first 2. That generally means 30% attack, 30% defense, 30% HP, or 30 crit. As you can see, these weapons here, we're going to keep a hold of. Now, the only time I wouldn't hold on to these is if I've got like 10 fast weapons with attack, but we'll get to that at the end. Weapons that are like this, generally I would always disassemble. This, always disassemble. This is the sort of weapons I'd always disassemble, because you're going to get better base stat off of another place. The only stat where it's actually reasonable to have 25 is HP, but they have implemented a couple of decent HP stat weapons in every weapon that I've seen now. They are rarer. For instance, you've got Beta's fast weapon that has 30% HP. You've got Dante's strong weapon that has 30% HP. And I think there's a 30% HP one. I'm not sure. It's one of the shotguns. It might be Carl's shotgun as a tough weapon. I'm not sure about Alert. Alert might be one of the ones where it's like there is no 30% HP one, but I'm sure one of you out there will be able to correct me. It might be an Ezekiel SMG that has 30% HP, but I think that's quite hard to come by. But there are also weapons from parts of the game that you might want to keep. So we're going to just keep going until we get to one of those weapons. I believe there's a Clementine pistol coming up. There we go. So if you like Telltale characters like myself, you might want to lock away a Telltale character's weapon, even if it isn't that good. You might want to upgrade it to just be reasonable. It's up to you, but you can just lock it away just so you've got it on hand if you are collecting those. I like the Telltale character stuff, so I do hold on to that. So I'm going to just go through these 250 weapons and select the weapons that I do not want to keep. And like I said, it's generally going to be like this, when it's got no 30% stat, and you know, it's not very good. You can see I've done some random upgrades here. This was for the missions, just to do like 1% stat upgrades, and they crit, but 1% stat upgrades 40 times or whatever it was for the missions. But I'm going to go through and select the weapons I do not need to keep anymore. Okay, so we've reached a point on selecting the weapons that is interesting. Once you get to around 300 on the quality score of a base weapon, it doesn't seem like the stats ever go below 30. Like, I can scroll pretty heavily here and just see there's always a purple stat as the top stat, except this weapon, and it can be for weapons before, where it has a decent third slot that you want to keep onto, but the majority of the time it's always going to have 30% defense, 30% HP, 30 crit, 30% attack. So I'm pretty happy with my selection so far. It's going to cost me 640,000 of the materials, but we're just going to do it, of course, and we're going to see what we can get here. Hopefully we can get something a bit more improved. We want some duct tapes, not very many. We do want some spray paint still, only 2. And what's the last ones? We do get some silver paint, etching acids, but we do not get any polishing kits. So that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. The disassemble is just to get a bit of extra. Like, you could decide, hey, because you don't get that many 4-star weapon disassembles, it's better to sell those weapons because you can sell them for more supply depot points. That is a decent way to go. Now, some of the weapons, you can see I've got quite a lot of locked weapons here, but some of the weapons I didn't choose. Let's see if I can actually get these to order and go to 4-star weapons. I'm down to 191, but some of the weapons I didn't choose that haven't got the sort of stats that I was talking about before. The things that have like impair on defense or AP down in the 3rd slot. This is a bit different because it is a Clementine shotgun. I'm most likely to keep that anyway, but like this Tyrese shocking LMG, you could potentially just keep this because it has a decent 3rd slot on it. I would say these sort of weapons are okay to use on attack teams. On defense teams, you need everything. Elusive impair is imperative. Focus stun instead of going for the basic stun weapons on defense. You know, basically the upgraded versions are really important on defense teams. On attack teams, you can get away with it a little bit more, but on defense teams, it's very important that you just have every single bit of thing going for you, basically. And it's a lot of armory tokens to 5-star weapon that you're going to use on a defense team. And like there are other special weapons like this. This is pretty good, giving bonus crit. You can put crit on it yourself, and you've got a really nice walker weapon. There aren't too many weapons like this Maggie's weapon, so this is actually pretty decent. But I do believe there is a better fast weapon. So if you've got a lot of these, it's giving exactly the same 3rd slot, but it's got 30 crit base. You can get rid of the other ones, you know. And then that's another way you can do things. You just go through it by, you know, alert, defense. And at this point, you know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weapons with 30% defense. I do not need 8 weapons with 30% defense, so I can decide I'm going to actually disassemble, let's say, a few of these. I'm going to keep those 5, and we're going to just disassemble these. We're going to get some extra stuff out of it. There's the Ezekiel's Vigorous SMG, 30% HP. It's quite hard to come by. And again, we can do the same attack. We can do this with every trait. And here I've got 5. So I have got 5, and we can hold on to these 5. If I get more than 5, do not need. We can go to crit. I don't really need crit weapons at all. I've already got my crit weapons sorted, so I can decide to just destroy these anyway. But it's always good to have one on hand just in case. And I would do that going through every single trait and just having a stock of like 5 attack weapons, 5 defense weapons. You just never know the situation you're going to face. Generally speaking, you're going to be able to decide, I've actually got fully fledged, fast healing 5-star weapons all done, 5 of them, all defense stat. Then you never need a defense weapon again potentially, but you just never know. It's always good to have these weapons in stock, and realistically, it's not that big a deal. You know, it's only 5 slots that it's taken up in your inventory. It's not really that big a deal. You can just only go for strong weapons, for instance. Got 5 defensive weapons, just a little bit more, and we're going to just get rid of some. I'm going to get rid of ones that look different as well. There we go. I'm actually going to get rid of this one because it's got a bad upgrade on it. Simple as that. And then we've still got 5 defensive weapons that are strong, so on and so forth. it is worth doing this. But like I said before, you might decide that it is better off selling 4-star weapons because you can sell them for just a little bit more. Let's go and check. It's 150 each, whereas I believe the 3-star weapons are really quite low in comparison. They're like, you can sell a 4-star weapon 3 times more than a 3-star weapon, and like you saw, I had over 2,000 3-star weapons, so it's actually pretty decent to disassemble those, especially for certain items. For these items, you might decide, hey, it's worth, you know, destroying them, but it's harder to see what their stats are. That's the thing. You have to click on the weapon to check the stats, or you can have to like remember what their stats are. For instance, I know I've got a bunch of attack weapons here. I can sell these, and I'm just going to sell them and get 300 supply depot points. And then, well, your supply depot points are just going to mount up, and you can buy whatever you want. Again, I generally just buy cans and trainers in here, not much else. But that's how I disassemble weapons. I have been asked this question quite a few times in the last couple of weeks. Supply depot points if you need them. I generally like to stay over 100k, 150k. I don't go through that stuff too quickly, and I generally disassemble my weapons every like 2 to 3 months, the 3s and 4-star weapons. Hopefully this is useful to someone out there. Do you have a different way of doing things? Is there any particular item that you need from disassembling that is just evades you? I'm very happy that I got quite a lot of those spray paints because, yeah, they're an issue. They're an issue for me right now. But please leave your comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.